So I'm driving to an open house in northern Liberties, and I'm leaving my house right now in South Philadelphia in the Girard Estates area. And I figured it would be cool to just show you the route that I'm going to take through the city, have you explore some different areas in the city, and just kind of see what the streets of Philadelphia look like. I'm going to try and drive through a few areas that I think are worth highlighting. That way you can get a lay of the land and start to understand where things are at and what's what. So I'm turning right now onto West Passyunk Avenue. So West Passyunk is less developed than East Passyunk. There's not as much going on over here as far as restaurants, bars, shops, things like that. But there are some things that are definitely starting to pop up, which is encouraging. So as I pull up in about one block on 16th and Passyunk, there's a really good restaurant, La Llorona, which is a good Mexican restaurant. And then across the street on Snyder, there's another restaurant that's also a Mexican restaurant, and it's called Café y Chocolate. So that's a good one as well. So there are some restaurants popping up. Down a little bit further west, there is a brewery. It's a brewery ARS, which is a really cute little spot. There's some outdoor seating. They have like food trucks and food carts that pull up on some of the nights of the week and the weekend, which is nice for the area. That's like a block from where I live, which is cool. So here on the left is that La Llorona restaurant. We're about to pass it right now. They have a little outdoor seating as well. And then here to your right, this used to be the Melrose Diner, and they knocked it down, and there's supposed to be a large multi-unit building that gets built there with commercial on the ground level, which would be great for this area. It would be great for West Passyunk just to have that amount of density, and have restaurants and shops and things under it. So we're at Broad Street now. So this is Broad and Passyunk, and I'm going to take you right across now up East Passyunk Avenue, which is, right now East Passyunk is one of the hottest neighborhoods in the city from what I'm seeing. There are a lot of buyers who are trying to get into that neighborhood. I just put buyers under contract last night on a house in East Passyunk, and it was like the third house that we had offered on, and the other two had I think they both had about 10 offers on them, which is obviously a lot of activity. And the city's really interesting right now because there are some neighborhoods where things are a little bit slower. There are some price points where things are a little bit slower as far as buyer activity. But as far as East Passyunk goes and then Fishtown, I think those two neighborhoods are some of the hottest neighborhoods right now in terms of where buyers are looking. So it's just interesting to see. So we're about to cross over Broad Street now, and we are heading here onto East Passyunk. So you're going to see right away, there's going to be more restaurants, shops, things along those lines. So you have Pistolas on the left, a lot of Mexican food, I just am realizing. But that is another Tex-Mex type place. And then this is your East Passyunk Avenue, the beginning of it. So, you do have a lot of shops, restaurants, commercial spaces, and then residential above. And that's why this neighborhood right now is really active with buyers, because everyone wants to be as close as possible to being able to walk on these types of strips with, you know, things to do. People want the convenience. Like, you know, personally, I love the neighborhood that I live in terms of a lot of things. Like, it's really, for me, I think it's nice. It's affordable. You know, there's a lot of families around. I feel pretty safe there. Like, it's a good area. I enjoy living there, but I am about a 15-minute walk from here, which is just far enough to make it a little bit annoying. But if you really live right in this area, you can get to all of these restaurants and shops and whatnot really quickly. So, and I'll try and highlight some. So like Stogie Joe's here on the right is definitely a great spot. It's like an old school South Philly spot. It has good pizzas, Italian food. They have gluten-free pizza as well if you have celiacs. And they have a nice bar in there. And I believe they're still cash only, but they have an ATM in there. So it's not that bad. So we're on Moore and Passyunk right now. You have Mara's right here. That's an Italian restaurant. Obviously, South Philly, you're going to have a good amount of little Italian mom and pop restaurants. You have Barcelona here, which is like tapas, and they have a nice little outdoor garden that's on your right. Got your City Fitness gym here, which is nice to have right in the middle of the neighborhood. And then you have Cantina, another Mexican restaurant, outdoor seating. And there's just a bunch of stuff right here, as far as like restaurants and little bars and things like that. There's a bottle shop on the left. And we are getting right now to kind of the heart of this strip on East Passyunk. This is where you have the fountain right here on your right that you'll see. It's a little like piazza right on the strip. Catching all the lights right now, so. So there's the fountain on your right. Stateside, get some drinks there. Some coffee shops. You have another gym here. Ember and Ash is on your left. That's another bar restaurant. Milk John here, which is ice cream. We're selling a house 2 doors down from there, and it was one of the craziest open houses that we've seen in a while. It was like 20 some buyers through there, and they have multiple offers already. So this neighborhood's definitely hot, and you'll see on the left there is Acme, so obviously super convenient to have like a large grocery store right here in the middle of the neighborhood. It's pretty great. And then I'm actually going to pop over. I was going to stay on Passyunk Ave, but I'm going to pop over to show you Columbus Square Park, which is right around the corner, and then we'll continue going up. Police station right here. It's a lot of road work going on right now in South Philly. My neighborhood is just constantly inundated. They're like updating the utilities and the sewer system, and all the streets are just torn up, which is one of the frustrating things about living in South Philly, is just the amount of road closures all the time. So here on your right is Columbus Park. You can't really see it. I guess you can see it there. So there's a dog park here. They have sports fields. They have soccer. There's a little garden over here with some flowers and stuff. It's a nice, really nice park. We like to take our dog here and walk around. There's also like a playground for kids on the other side of the park. So this is like right behind Acme, a little bit closer to, getting closer to Broad Street. We're right now we're on 13th and Wharton. So we're coming up 13th, and we're gonna hit Washington Ave pretty soon, which is then going to put us into a different neighborhood. So So we're here on Washington. To the left is the largest residential development in the United States. It's 1001 Broad Street. It's a huge building. It's right on Broad and Washington, which is a great location because you can just catch the subway right into Center City. You could walk into Center City in probably about 10-15 minutes, and you're also right next to like Bella Vista, Hawthorne area. So right now we're on Washington Ave, crossing 11th Street, and I'm gonna take you over to the Italian market area. On 9th Street here. So you can see Giordano's right there, and you're gonna see all of these vendors on the, mostly on the right side, but they're all selling their groceries. There's a lot of great you know, stores here that do like fish, meat, steak, sausage. You can pretty much get anything here. It's a pretty cool area. A lot of Italian food, a lot of pasta, and there's actually there's a Blue Corn here to the left is actually a really good Mexican restaurant and bar. You have the Bruno Brothers, and they have also a bottle shop up here, and then they have this little to the left area where you can eat and sit. You have Sarcone's Bakery up here, Ralph's Italian Restaurant, and then you're gonna see over here to the left, we're also passing Angelo's Pizzeria, which is kind of the consensus best cheesesteak in the city. And then Burke and Payne, which is a barber shop right next door. That's where I get my hair cut. So you have a park here as well to your left. I'm gonna show you South Street right here. So South Street is really interesting. It's like very eclectic. There's a lot of like, you know, like tattoo shops and record stores and all kinds of stuff. Smoke shops. There's a liquor store there to your right. So we're on 7th and South right now. Federal Donuts is like a really great, famous donut place in Philly. But yeah, this is an interesting area. I don't come over here a ton, but I feel like some people love this area and then some people aren't so keen on it. But we'll come over here to like go to the record store and to shop sometimes. And then Jim's Steak, which is one of the most popular cheesesteak places here to the right as well. That place actually had a fire. They had burned, well, they didn't burn down, but there was a fire in the building and then the building next door, and then they purchased the building next door and they actually expanded. So they reopened recently. I might turn here on 3rd. And we're gonna go more into this Society Hill area and then leading up into Old City, this area is really beautiful. It gets very lush with trees. You're going to start to see a lot of the old brick buildings. We're getting into areas that are much more historical now in the city. So I love driving through here. Pine Street here is a really, really beautiful street. And it's crazy because you cross South Street and you just enter this and it feels like you're in a different city, honestly. And Philly is really like that. It's cool because there are all these different neighborhoods and they really do have their own look and feel. And it's just really cool because, like, depending on what your interests are and what you like to do and, you know, kind of what your vibe is, you can pick and choose. Obviously, we're getting more into the Old City, Center City area, so it does get, you know, more expensive as you come closer to Center City. So now we're in Old City here. And Old City's a really cool area. There's a lot of condos in this area, not so many townhomes. There are definitely some townhomes, but they are much more expensive. But there are a lot of bars and restaurants in this area. Obviously, this is a more touristy area as well because when people visit Philly, usually it's, you know, they want to see the more historical areas. So a lot of people will end up staying in this area. But there's a lot of boutiques over here, a lot of really cute little shops and bars and restaurants. And I feel like Old City is like, you know, personally, I don't come here a ton, but when I used to like go out more and things, this was a good area to go out. There was a lot to do. Oh. This is Market Street here that we're on. I'll take a left here on Market Street. There's a lot of road work going on. They're redoing a lot here. And so as we're pulling up here, this is 5th and Market. This is where you're gonna have the Liberty Bell and a lot of the original historical sites in Philadelphia. So, I mean, you could see, I think to the left right there, there's a tour going on right now. Philadelphia isn't the most touristy city. Like, it's not like one of these cities where you're gonna, you know, have, I'm gonna stop, where you're gonna have really a crazy amount of tourists outside of this area. Like, you don't really get inundated with, like, you know, street vendors or people heckling you or anything like that, like some cities where you go to their touristy areas and it's like really out of control. Philly's not really like that. The tourism here isn't a huge factor, but there is tourism. There are like you'll see, you know, there's buses that go around and do tour you around the city, especially in this area. And they also do like those biking tours, like the big like bike and bar thing where the bachelorette parties, you know, bike and drink around Old City. So they'll do that. This is the United States Mint right here on the right, which is pretty cool. Philly, you know, living here, you just kind of forget how much history there is because you don't realize it, but like literally to the right here, it's Benjamin Franklin's burial place at the Christ Church burial ground. It's crazy. You just live in this city where the founding fathers were roaming around doing stuff. So once we go under this underpass here, we're now getting into pretty much the Northern Liberties area. And you're going to see there's a lot of huge buildings that are getting built right here between Callahill and Spring Garden. And these are all brand new. This area was a lot of industrial space, a lot of commercial buildings, and there still are a lot of them, but the zoning here allows for these larger buildings, and it's all getting kind of redeveloped. There's a Target here on your left, and then Yard's Brewery, which is a Philly brewery, is here to your left as well. And so this whole area is getting like crazy redeveloped right now. And then we're on Spring Garden here, and you have Silk City Diner right across here on Spring Garden to your right, and that is a great spot to grab a bite to eat, grab a drink. They actually do have like nightlife there, even though it's a diner. It's very interesting. And so what I'm gonna do here is I'll go up to Girard, and then I will loop around a little bit just so you can get a sense of this area as well. Okay, so, and you can see all these like brand new construction homes. We sell a lot of new construction in this area. Right, the open house I'm going to, which I'm going to loop around a little bit, but I'm not going to go directly there, but it's like right here. It's Wendell Place. There's 34 townhomes that we're selling, and they're all brand new construction. They have 2-car garages, and they have a 10-year tax abatement, and they are for sale right around $1 million. But for 2-car parking in this area, it's a pretty good value. About 3,000 square feet. You have rooftop decks. They have city skyline views. So it's a pretty awesome development. So we're coming up 5th Street here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go right on Girard. So I'll go east, and I'm gonna actually go up into Fishtown and show you Frankford Ave. And then I'll follow Frankford Ave up to York Street, cut back down, go back on Girard, back into Northern Liberties. And so I'll do a little loop up here of just like, we're in Northern Liberties now, we'll pop over to Fishtown, come back and see 2nd Street in Northern Liberties, and then I'll head over to the open house. So, but this is like fun for me because this is what I would do with my clients who are coming into town. I would basically schedule tours in different neighborhoods for different homes that kind of fit their criteria, and we would take a Saturday or Sunday, either myself or someone from my team would basically, you know, take people around and kind of give them a tour of the city and just give them a feel for what they're looking at and what neighborhoods, you know, where they're going to get what they're looking for and where they kind of fit, and we go from there. So this is like a virtual tour of what I would do if someone was looking in Philly and had never been here, and I was just explaining the different areas. So we're on Girard, which is also getting redeveloped a lot. This is 3rd and Girard, and there's like a huge development site right here. And so as we continue here on Girard, this is Germantown Ave and 2nd Street here. And so what I'm driving on right now, this is actually where the trolleys on Girard would drive. And they go pretty much from Broad Street to all the way up Girard. And right here you have the L. So this is Front and Girard, and this is where you can get the L right into Center City, which is why this area has really, you know, flourished, because you can get into the city quickly with public transportation. And, you know, it's about a 10-15 minute drive. Philly's really easy to get around driving for the most part. It doesn't really take much more than 20 to 30 minutes to get from one side of the city to the other, and it can be even quicker if you take the highway. So here on your right is Garage Bar, and this is Frankford Ave. This is kind of the beginning of Frankford Ave on Girard and Frankford, and this is where kind of the action and the fun starts. So there's a lot of restaurants and bars on Frankford, and that's really the main draw to this neighborhood is Frankford Ave and all of the development that's happened over here. So you have Joe's Steak to your left there. You have a yoga studio. You have Frankfurt Hall. And then this empty lot next to it is going to be redeveloped into a hotel. You have Two Robbers Brewing here on the right side. So Frankfurt Ave reminds me of like East Passyunk. It's very similar. I think it's an argument, you know, depending on what people like, you know, which one they prefer. But a lot of people, I think, would say they prefer the restaurants up here because a lot of these restaurants have been, you know, nationally acclaimed. Like you have Soraya, which will be in a little bit that you'll see, and you have Kalaya. But this is the main strip here in Fishtown on Frankford. You can see there's a lot going on. People out and about. It's about 10:30 a.m. on a Saturday. So people are getting their mornings started. So all of this development here has really happened within the past 10 to 15 years. This neighborhood, even when I started in real estate and I first moved to Philly like about 10 years ago at this point, it didn't look quite like this. It was way less developed. There's a lot going on. So got walk work here, great spot for a little quick bite to eat. And then Soraya is there on your left. You can see on the facade it's written Soraya. And I'm gonna pivot. Instead of taking you on York Street, I'm actually gonna take you back down Front Street just so that you can catch the vibe there. It's pretty cool driving under the L, and there are like some restaurants and bars and stuff that are really cool. And then this is Palmer Park, so a nice little park right off of Frankford. And so this strip is really responsible for so much of the growth in Fishtown, but it's also responsible for the growth in Old Kensington, because once you cross Front Street over here, you are entering into Old Kensington. And honestly, there's some parts of Old Kensington that are way closer to this than, you know, parts of Fishtown. So the prices in Old Kensington have really also exploded. And this on your left is Kalaya, which she was featured on Chef's Table. Really great food. Thai food. So yeah, we're coming back up here on the L, and you're gonna see here that the street basically just runs right under the L, and there is a ton of development happening right along the L. All these buildings, it's kind of interesting. It's like your apartment is literally looking right at the tracks, but it's kind of a cool vibe to be able to walk over here, and you know, it's very unique. I like it. It has really a cool city feel. And there's a bunch of cool spots here. So this is like International Bar, popular spot. You have Goldie on your left, which is really good falafel. You can see there's another building that's going up right there. It's a huge development. And our team has sold actually some of the land here, a lot of the land here that's being developed. Gets a little crazy driving under here sometimes. You got L-Bar, you got Mulherron and Sons on the left. You're gonna have up here coming up on the left, Front Street Cafe, which is a good spot that has a really nice outdoor patio. It's about to come up here on Front and Thompson. Yeah, on the left side. And then Kung Fu Necktie on the right, which is like a dive bar, but they have live music and stuff like that. And then Middle Child, which is really popular, is right there on your right. There's a line outside. And so now we are back to Front and Girard. So this is where we initially saw the L on Girard Street. And so I'm going to take you now down back to Northern Liberties on 2nd Street, and that way you can kind of see how these are linked. So that was Frankford Ave. There is the trolley, which is cool for you to see. And now we're on 2nd Street. So this is 2nd and Girard. You do have an Acme to your left, which is great. You have a lot that you can get here, like liquor store is there. You have the CVS on the corner, and then a lot of these buildings are also new. On your left is the Piazza, which is kind of like the main area where the development in Northern Liberties really started. It's a huge development. Tons of people live there, and it was redeveloped. It was an older development, and then it was redeveloped again by Post Brothers, and they added like tons and tons of units and amenities to that whole area. So there's like rooftop pools and a gym and all kinds of stuff. And so 2nd Street here, you're also going to have, you know, some restaurants and shops and bars and things like that. So you have Urban Village Brewing, Set Northern Liberties. You have a Starbucks here to your right. But I like the local stuff more than I like Starbucks. We have La Colombe. And so this is 2nd Street, and you can see it's like a little bit more sparse. Like there's not, I would say there's not as much as there is on East Passyunk or Frankford, but there's still a lot. It's still a nice area to be able to walk to. And there are restaurants and bars, but it's just not as dense as those other strips with that stuff. There is a North Bowl over here, which is a bowling alley, and then all of this is great. These just got developed on your right, and these will hopefully bring some more commercial space to 2nd Street as well, which will be nice to just add some things here. Standard Tap we just passed, and that's a great little bar here. This is kind of the main area where there's actually a lot more bars and restaurants on 2nd Street, closer down to Fairmount Ave here. So I do really like this part of 2nd Street here. And now we're on Fairmount Ave. And so I'll take you to just see Liberty Lands Park, and then I'll hit my open house. So 3rd Street right here. And the nice thing about Northern Liberties is, you know, you do have like, there's bars and restaurants kind of throughout the neighborhood. So even though 2nd Street isn't as like dense and populated with as much as East Passyunk or Frankford, in my opinion, like on 3rd Street, like you have, this is North 3rd, which is a bar and restaurant. You know, you have these little like bars and restaurants kind of sprinkled into the neighborhood, which is nice because like you don't necessarily have to go all the way to 2nd Street to get what you want. There are other things to do within the neighborhood. And then here on your right is going to be Liberty Lands Park, which is really popular. And then there's a dog park on the left side. So, yeah, it's pretty green in this neighborhood. There are a lot of trees. There's, you know, it's pretty. And I have another development right off of this area, which you could see here. This leads right to the piazza, this like little Liberty Walk on your right side. But I have another development that is right here that's like new construction townhomes. They are right around 850, but they're like right off 2nd Street, which is great. So you don't really have to go too far to get to all that good stuff. And so I'm gonna head over to this open house now, but that was a pretty in-depth tour of pretty much the whole east side of the city, from pretty much from Snyder and Passyunk all the way up to Girard into Fishtown and Frankford Ave. So, you know, if you watch this video, you actually probably have a pretty good handle on some of the more popular neighborhoods on the east side of the city. which is pretty cool because, you know, there's a lot of different options. There's a lot of different kind of, you know, looks and feels as far as the different neighborhoods that we have. So, you know, you got to see a lot of different areas and a lot of the main strips in Philadelphia that are really driving people here. I mean, these are the areas that are driving people into Philadelphia. So at some point I will probably do a video of the west side of the city where I can show you, you know, Graduate Hospital and Rittenhouse and Fairmount and Spring Garden and some of those areas, which are also very popular, like west of Broad Street. So this video was east of Broad Street, and then that one will be west. But if you found value in this video, definitely please subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, let me know, you know, which of the neighborhoods that I went through today that you resonate with most, or that you think is the coolest. So let me know. I'll see you next time.